Welcome back to the Next Level Show. It looks like we have a full panel today with the three wonderful co-hosts, myself, John Alva Fitness, with Mr. Gabriel from Prime and Glory, and Mike from Mike Nillis PT. Super happy to have you guys back. We're all family once again.
What's happening? Reunited.
Indeed.
Nah, it's been crazy trying to schedule, man. It's the first time we've experienced this where literally our schedules are like polar opposites at times. So apologize for the listeners. I know some of you guys that tune in every single episode, 3 times a week when we were dropping consistently for a year, over a year, 3 times a week. We will probably get back to that eventually, hopefully, when things level out. It's just right now, unfortunately, there's not much wiggle room. And instead of just doing either solo episodes, which I have contemplated on just doing maybe one a week where we do that third episode in the middle. But I was like, you know what? I mean, it's always more fun to do have someone to converse with, even though I can talk for ages, but you know what I mean. How's everyone been? I feel like it's been a minute.
Mike?
Good. Busy. Very busy. There's lots to do. Talking to a lot of people, learning a lot. I mean, my brain is like, I am sleeping like a dead person every single night now because I'm just like, it's all new. You know, like when you're busy, it's different. But when it's busy and it's new stuff, it's like extra exhausting. I don't know how else to put it. But yeah, we're getting closer to grand opening, dude. We got big numbers to target. We're getting a little aggressive, but it'll be fun. I'm excited.
There you go. Cool. Yeah, no, I was so school started back up again, and I was helping her set up her classroom this whole week actually. So it's been or last week, this is Monday. It's been kind of crazy. Just end of the year, she purged everything out of her room, so it was like everything brand new and setting everything up from scratch essentially. So we're still working on it. Kids don't go back to school until the 12th, I believe. No, I'm lying. Let me see. 7, 9, 10, the 10th. I think it's the 10th. So it's creeping up there. It feels like it was like more like a slight break instead of a summer break. You know, you think like 2 months or something like that. It was like barely a month for them. So
I was just gonna ask you. I
Yeah.
feel like you guys are going back very quickly.
yes, that is correct.
Okay.
And barely
All right.
out. But essentially, so it's because it started late last year, and there was kind of a whole bunch of funkiness going on throughout the year. So it's starting now. So
I
kind of
see.
sucks. Oh, and also I had no idea I was so tripped out as to what the hell day yesterday was. I could have sworn yesterday felt like a Friday, seemed like a Friday. Everything about it was a Friday. Maybe it's because afterwards when we finished, we were all like exhausted from doing all that working in her classroom, the girls and I too, and we went to the movies. Went to go see Jungle Cruise. Comes out, yeah, it's
How
actually
was
pretty
it?
cool. It was cool. It was good. It was kind of like a typical Dwayne Johnson movie, you know. The girls
Dwayne
liked
Johnson. Who's that?
it. Some guy.
Why does
You
that
might not
sound
know.
familiar?
Yeah.
Oh, do you
Are
mean
you being
Dwayne the
serious?
Rock Johnson?
Yeah. Who else?
You gotta say the full name, dude.
I said
Dwayne
Dwayne Johnson.
No, Dwayne the Rock Johnson. That's his name.
Okay, fine. I thought you were being
4 words.
facetious.
That's no.
So
Seriously.
it was a typical rock movie. Jennifer and I, we were like, because it seemed kind of predictable in how it was going, but we still enjoyed it. It was a fun movie to go to. Are you gonna is it nominated for movie of the year? No. It's a good summer movie, something to distract you, something to kind of get you by or till the next one or whatever. So it was good.
Did you guys see the there's some I guess Scarlett Johansson is suing Disney. Did you guys see
Yes,
this?
I did.
Why?
So the Black Widow movie got released. I have yet to see it, but apparently when they originally shot the movie and did the contract and all that kind of stuff, she was supposed to make a certain percentage off of the theater box office percentage or whatever.
And that was started by Robert Downey Jr.
Was it?
I think
That's
he initiated that whole concept of depending on
okay.
how the
Okay.
movies do, we get paid more. So the better a
Okay.
movie does, they get paid a little bit more percentage goes to them.
That was a smart move until Disney started streaming their movies. So basically, Scarlett Johansson and her team of lawyers are saying, I'm not getting as much as I should have because we didn't talk about any rates with you putting this on a streaming service. So she's not getting any percentage from the people that are paying money on Disney Plus to see it, only from people that are going to movie theaters. And apparently, I mean, movies aren't really doing that great with movie theaters right now. So, you know, ScarJo and Mickey Mouse are duking it out, basically.
I want to say the numbers for the movie were 60 million the first weekend for ticket sales in theater.
Mhm.
For streaming sales, I want to say it was 30 million. And then ticket sales dropped from 60 to 28, which is not the norm for one of like a Marvel movie.
That's nothing for a Marvel movie.
So when you think about, like, for instance, okay, we can either pay whatever amount of money to go see the movie, you know, in theaters, or, you know, we can all go to someone's house, you know, that has a pretty cool setup. Like, let's head over to your house, John, since you set up your TV system all good, right? You got your sound
Mhm.
system and everything.
Yeah, I do.
So imagine hosting like a watch party, and everybody goes there, pays you, you know, whatever it is, hell of a lot less than the cost for admission would be. And now you don't have to worry about being around anybody else. You're around, you know, friends, good time, and now
You can pause it and go to the bathroom, and if
you
want.
can do all of that kind of good stuff. So she has, I guess it's uncharted waters.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to think that they wouldn't have covered this. You know, they wouldn't say, okay, well, fine, because the obvious answer to me would be, well, just get a percentage from the digital sales. That's
Mhm.
it. But apparently it's not as simple as that.
Yeah. Well, it's not in the contract, and you know, I
You
I
have
don't wanna
these
speak poorly.
multi-billion-dollar companies battling it out, so it's not just as simple as he said, she said, I want, you
Yeah.
want. Nope.
Mhm.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
on the plus side, I guess plus side for Disney, did you see that they hired this some YouTuber because his deepfakes were just so good?
Yeah, I saw that actually. Yeah, and I saw the comparison of his Mark Hamill compared to the one
Yep.
they did in Mandalorian,
Mhm.
and well played, Disney. That was a good move.
There was one that he did where in Avengers Endgame, Iron Man on planet, what is it, Volmir? No, not Volmir. Where was it? Titan.
Titan. Yeah.
When he was fighting Thanos, where Iron Man was Peter Parker, Tobey Maguire, and Thanos was the landlord asking about his money. That was
Oh, I'm
pretty
gonna have to
funny.
look that up. That sounds
Yeah,
great.
It was pretty funny. So yeah, not so good on their side with the legal suit, but then they're doing something good of getting talent from places you wouldn't expect.
Yeah.
Anywho, I'm so behind with everything Disney. It's still battling this whole, like, I guess, like, the people that knew last week, I ended up dealing with some some congestion, slight cold, or a combination of sinusitis or whatever. And it took a bit to delay. Now it's like I feel like if I eat rice and beans, it gets like harder to eat them just temporarily.
no.
I was coughing the food down. Now it feels like it's stuck. So if you hear me in the mic, sorry for the bad etiquette.
That's
I promise
terrible.
to do better. I promise to do better. Maybe not. But we have a good episode lined up for the listeners that came in for Mindset Monday. Usually our Mindset Monday episodes usually are more versatile and more people tend to tune in. I've noticed based on the numbers and the thumbs up that we get on YouTube. If you're watching the episode, make sure to give the episode a thumbs up. If you like the content, subscribe if you haven't. Share it with someone so we can continue to grow this.
Would you say that would be a good way to be a part of our supporting cast?
This way.
See,
Yeah.
tying episodes together.
But there you go. We're done here. Let's back it up.
That's it. It's end
You
credits.
guys used to. Have you guys watched Seinfeld? You know what's
On and
I mean,
off.
yeah, I've seen it.
okay.
I can't say I've
So
seen
there
it
was
all.
so what I was about to reference. There was this episode where George, you know, the short bald guy,
Mhm.
where he would leave the room whenever he tells like a good joke, and everybody starts laughing. He always wants to leave on a high note. So that would be an example of just leaving on a high note.
Okay, yeah, I understand
Like-
that reference.
Like
It's a hell of a
Leroy.
lot funnier in the episode.
It's all good. I get what you're saying because this is how I am if I'm playing video games or something against someone, or if I'm just in a position where I've been dominating. I don't want to take the chance of losing, so I
Nope.
just leave on a high
Out.
note. I'm just like, I'm out. I'm not
Peace.
rematching. I'm out.
Turn
But
it
if
off.
I lose, I demand a rematch.
There you go.
because I need another
Nice.
shot.
I was always, whenever I was like really hardcore into gaming, I wound up in this weird like dichotomy where I didn't want to leave on a win streak, but I also didn't want to leave on a loss. So I wound up just playing until I couldn't anymore.
So you physically, your mind just gave out.
Yeah. Basically, my brain was peanut butter, and I was just like, it's like it's 4 a.m. I gotta go.
No, that makes sense because why stop at five wins when maybe I
Get
can get to 10,
6.
Yeah, maybe I can get
maybe
to
at
6,
20.
10,
Who
20. Yeah,
knows?
absolutely. And then I'm not leaving a loss. Fuck that. I'm better than
I
this.
stopped playing video games consistently a long time ago because of this problem that I had. I would play online. I would play mainly FIFA. For those that don't know, it's a soccer game. And playing online, it starts off good. You may lose here and there, but it's not a bad. You don't feel that bad when it happens once in a blue. But there's some days that you just suck, or you play against very like you end up getting paired up with these really good players. And now in the last like 5 to 6 years, they had added the record so it stays permanently your total. And it irks me to have more. Like obviously you want more wins than losses. I'm very
Of
competitive
course.
by nature. So I literally it'd be points that I would just rage. It's that's why I decided a couple years back I gotta stop this. This is not healthy for my mental health. I'm about to like throw this control through the wall and I can't. It's like it brings me back. It makes me laugh because you look at that and you're like, you're so stupid. But when you're in the moment, it
No, of
matters to
course.
you. And
Yeah,
anyone tells you anything,
lying,
yeah.
full of shit.
Me and my brother used to fight all the time. Like when we used to play next to each other, we'd start hitting each other. It would be depending on who was winning, of course, who talked the most
Yeah.
shit. Literally get into like little fist fights. Like we were smaller just because like we were that. My brother's super competitive as well when he plays, so we get that, since we were kids. It's
I'm much better at playing someone right next to me than playing online. I guess
it
before
depends.
getting the courage, I felt like before I had to need to muster up some kind of courage to play online because I've never been about that or never played that much. So the only game that I felt like I was competent enough to do so was I think I mentioned this before, Marvel vs. Capcom 3. And I was still getting my ass beat, but anytime I would get a win because I was like, these people are so much better than me, I was just like, hey, look at that, I got a win, awesome. And I'd be
I feel
like
like I feel like
one
you're
in
still
10.
too nice, Gabe. I would literally be like, "Fuck you!" Like
Well, yes,
yelling
of
at the.
course. Oh no, that was happening all the time.
It's when I'm
I'm
just
all about
getting
that.
like destroyed by this person that apparently obviously understands how to play.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just awful. It's an awful feeling. Um, should we jump in?
See,
All right. So also for the listeners down below, even on YouTube and on the podcast platform, we do have the timestamps that Mike does a fantastic job at putting them. So you know
phenomenal.
exactly what points we're going to cover. Gabe sent us a video this week about, um, it was more so on a productivity thing from when I took it. And I think this goes very good for a mindset episode just because it's a great way to start the week. It's actually looking at that. It gave me a lot of like, aha moments. I'll be honest, and we'll kind of cover. Mike wasn't able to go through the whole thing, but we kind of briefed him on it. And for the listeners, we'll give you kind of what it's about mainly. It in this day and age, we there's a lot of opportunity to be successful in almost any avenue you decide to go, whether it's a business online, whether it's a physical business, whatever your endeavors in life leads you, you can be successful. There's a lot of opportunity, but the problem is that we also live in such a high tech reality that we also are distracted, 90% of the time. We have a computer literally in our hands where we can be entertained literally all day from the minute we wake up to the minute we go to sleep. People carry their chargers around because they're on it so much. You know what I'm saying. And or they just complain that Apple's hacks the computer, hacks the phone, and then messes it up every time a new one releases. But that's conspiracy. We're talking about on the balance of probabilities, right? No, so most people we're on this little device. We truly, especially the younger generation, doesn't truly understand what it's like to be bored. I'm old enough to know, like, when I was a little kid and we were stuck in places, we didn't have a cell phone just readily available. And even if we did, it didn't have much to do. And we literally would have to sit there in the car listening to our parents' music of choice, or go to our relative's house where maybe they didn't have cable options that were abundant with the cartoon channel. Or if you missed a show, did not have the opportunity to go watch it whenever you wanted to, like all these streaming
Done
services.
forever.
If you didn't wake up early on Saturday mornings, you missed your favorite show, possibly.
Tough shit.
So obviously I'm very grateful for the leaps forward in technology, but I feel like it's also hindered us. And all this episode is going to tailor to is how to embrace the boredom to actually be more productive and make certain things more habitual, where you're actually getting a positive association from these things. And we'll give some examples, and I'll also let Gabe kind of preface this as well. I know he you watch this podcast regularly, Gabe, so it's
Yes. Yeah, sure.
for
I'll
the
go
most
ahead and
part.
say yes.
I know I recognize
You
the
know who he
guy.
is, right? Yeah, yeah.
I know that's your guy. So, but I liked how he put this together. And he even I don't know, remember the book. I don't know if you remember the book that he
Deep
referenced,
work.
but Deep Work. And basically, this guy I forget his exact name. What's his name?
Paul Fabritz from PJF Performance.
Yes.
He's an athletic trainer to NBA stars, like in particular to James Harden, along with other NBA athletes. So I've actually looking at his stuff a hell of a lot more because I started playing recently. I think for the
Mm.
past 3 weeks I've been on Saturdays over here. I just play,
Yeah.
and it's been kind of cool, dude. Can I tell you, the first time I went, I was sucking wind so goddamn hard. It was just crazy. I was just like, sub, come in. I can't. But I felt like last week I finally getting in my rhythm. So because of that, I've been looking through more stuff. Every now and then I follow him and I see some of his clips, and I watch like a short clip here and there. But now more recently, I've been searching for these kind of things just to kind of get a little bit better at playing. And when I came across this video of his that is like I want to say over a year old at least, it's pretty old. He I found this part that he was talking about the boredom and the deep work, and I thought it'd be a great topic to bring to our audience because it's something that everyone can relate to. You mentioned productivity for at work, but what about now? I just mentioned that we're going back to school. What about students that are studying, right? And now let's just say, Mike, you just studied your brain off for that test, the NASM, right?
I still am.
So you still are. Now, because you had a short amount of time, you really couldn't bullshit too much. Maybe some of that happened here and there, but it eventually was basically to a minimum. Now, think of if you would have had, I don't know, a month, 2 months, maybe you would have been like, okay, let me read. Oh, what's going on TV, or what's going on my phone, or what's going on here? Go back and forth. And that's the opposite of the deep work that we're talking about. That's more like shallow work, where you're kind of distracted, where you're just not really in tune to what it is that you're doing. So imagine, you're over here on your phone looking at this deep fake comparison and how crazy that guy's work is for the deep fakes. And then you say, okay, let me put this down. And then immediately you turn back to your computer screen and you start reading about heart valves.
Yeah.
You're going to be like, oh, okay. Okay, great.
Going back
okay.
to YouTube.
Yeah, exactly. Let me head my ass back to YouTube, because we're just, how do you go from that high stimulus of, your phone that your phone can provide? Because it's not like, what are you looking at your phone? Stuff that you enjoy, stuff that you search out for, stuff that interests you, right? You're not going to just, let me pick up my phone and look at, I don't know, some bullshit, or, I don't know, pick some other random shit. So then you go back and you go from being super stimulated to not so much. Now, wouldn't you say that's a good comparison to eating, like, let's just say a high processed food, maybe like, some chocolate, some, I don't know, some M&Ms or whatever, some Oreo cookies, favorite over here. And then going over to having biting into an apple or a strawberry, right? You'd be like, well, this is kind of bland. I don't fucking like this shit. That's because you're just comparing it to what you just had, which was that Oreo, which was, hopefully you dunked it in the milk and you did it the right way. But it's just it goes back to just being distracted. And do you know what I've noticed the past I don't even know how long, month, 2 months, something like that. If you go to a stop sign or red light and you look around, what's everybody doing? Everybody's pulling out their phones while they're at the light. Sometimes you got to honk at someone just to hurry up and put their phone down to go ahead and move because the light changed. They didn't even notice because they're distracted. So we're always distracted. We're always not in the moment, not present. If we're online at the store, what do? Pull out your phone. Everybody else doing that same shit, right? No one's just there. You can't just be there. So what we were trying to say is just to embrace the boredom. You know, that
Get
kind of
off your
reminds me of
fucking phone.
it reminds me of remember that scene in the Dark Knight with Bane and Batman? He's like, you just embrace the darkness. You I was molded by it.
Yeah.
That's why I'm
I
like,
was born in it.
I didn't know how to have fun until I was barely a man. So it's that same thing where, you know, before, you know, what'd you do, to your point, when you were younger? You couldn't pull anything out. What are you gonna do? Pull out your damn, you know, desktop? You're gonna take your desktop everywhere with you? You're gonna pull, you know, get your big ass TV and put it in your car and plug it in whenever you're at a red light and watch your show? You're not gonna do none of that. So it's being able to embrace the boredom and being okay with it. And if you're super bored, let's say you're staring at the wall for like, you know, I don't know, 5-10 minutes, and then you go and then you look and then you're reading about heart valves. Oh, okay, that's kind of cool. Then you might have a different experience when you're studying.
So I want to say that I like the analogy even with the food. Basically, what it comes down to is being distracted, but also we're overly stimulated with endorphins. You know, with that dopamine hit, continue to hit
I'm always
all the
looking for it.
time. And that's why these platforms, these social media platforms, are so addictive, and why people stay. And they're designed. YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, especially TikTok. You can spend hours on your device scrolling through this never-ending amounts of content, especially short form, coming at you all day. So you're constantly getting stimulated. You have that those dopamine hits in the mind. So you naturally becomes habitual. But not only habitual, the habits he explains is not enough to, you know, keep someone stimulated, because there's a difference between being habitual. Like if you brush your teeth, you do it out of habit, but you're not like, oh my God, like this is amazing. Like when you're 6 in the morning, freaking your eyes are glued together.
However, I will say, what about that time if you have like something caught in your teeth for like a while and you finally get it out?
Yes. But see, that's an extreme. Like when you get that chunk out, you're like,
exactly.
you know what I mean? So, but you're constantly getting this dopamine hit with something you do regularly. You create almost like, I would say, to be fair, we'll throw the word addiction. It becomes addictive. Because
you're always reaching for it.
Yeah. And the reason I'm preferencing, because we're also now on YouTube, I know certain words start getting like on the algorithm. But anyways, for anyone, you know, it's not that extreme. But yes, you become addicted to your phone. You become addicted to these platforms, and I'm gonna play it out there. I don't care. So, but on the real, it's what happens, and people hate to throw like, "Don't be so sensitive. You don't know what addiction really is." Shut up. Yes, I do. It's basically that association. Mike knows what it is.
Would you concur, Mike?
It is addictive. Yeah, it is. 100%, 1,000%. I'll fight you. Fight me. Message me.
DM him at Mike Nellis PT, and he got you. But basically, you know, when you start latching these things, that's why these mundane, necessary things don't stimulate you the same. Even though you are getting a lighter maybe dose of this, it's not going to be nowhere near compared to like something if you just were watching something very funny or entertaining on your phone, you put it down and you go back to reading like heart valves or, you know, the anatomy. In general, you're going to be like, well, this is cool, but let me go back to, you know, this cool, funny video about a cat. And
you can probably say something like, it's like that cool video about the cat is like a scale of 1 to 10, it's like 8. And then the heart valve is like at a 4. So
or even less, it can be less, but yeah, I you know, 100%. So what he's saying for productivity, to boost your productivity, he specifically says you want to stop, pause, stare at the wall, stare at nothing give yourself 10 minutes of just quiet time while you're just present, and allow yourself to become bored. The reason for this is that
bored.
generally bored, where you go and reach for your book that you need to study, or start working on the project that you may have at hand, or start doing something that you know it's a task that's important, that's going to propel either your business, your career, your academics. I don't know, whatever it is. Even time with your family. We can even latch this on to your personal life. Do that. If you find yourself, it's very hard for you to connect, or very hard to create these positive associations, because what's going to happen is you will get a dopamine hit from accomplishing a chapter, or reading a page, a couple pages of your book, or getting a couple pages written down, and maybe an assignment that you needed to do, finished a video editing, whatever you do for tasks. Like, there's things that you do and you have that sense of accomplishment, that dopamine hit, and that positive association with that particular task that you need to do quite regularly. Especially if you're a student, you're going to be studying a lot. So make positive associations with your brain, with that task. You're getting stuff done, and you're not easily going to fall into the trap. Give yourself restrictions. I would even say this. He used a perfect example for exercise. A lot of people struggle with getting stimulated and having a positive association with the gym, which I don't know how you don't get a dopamine hit after deadlifting your max. But some people literally are on their phone the whole time scrolling, and they're not even present. I have clients that it's hard for me to get them to disconnect from their devices. I have to tell them to leave them, because even through their sets, I can tell their brain is going elsewhere. So you need to create boundaries, disconnect, and be able to allow yourself to enjoy the more physical present things that are beneficial. And that way it doesn't only become habitual, because habits are important. Do it without thinking, but that you're also latching on these chemical reactions in the brain that actually stimulate. I like to exercise. I look forward to it, because every time I leave feeling great. um it's an important thing, because we do go based on feeling. So a lot of times with certain things, with something feels a certain way, we're more likely to continue to revisit that positive feeling.
Yeah, I
Like,
see. I didn't do my homework, so I didn't see the video, but I feel like that is actually beneficial because I can give like a unique um point of view on it. And I feel like we kind of have an advantage over younger people at this point, and even over older people at a certain point as well, because we do have the experience of like when you went to the bathroom, basically you had air fresheners to choose from and you could read the ingredients. And that was about it. You pretty much just sat there, do your business, and then go. And now it's like you pull out your phone, you're on Facebook, you're on Reddit, you're on Instagram.
You can call me.
hold on. Can I ask you guys a question?
Yeah,
So, do people take out their phones even when they're shitting in public?
I do.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Why not?
Because you go, like you said, you do what you got to do, and then you get up and you get out. If you're shitting in public,
Depends.
it's most likely an emergency, right? It's like I can't, I have to go here, otherwise I'm going to go myself.
It depends on my comfort, but I'll be honest with you guys. I've developed a tolerance where I can basically go anywhere pretty chill. It just depends on
Yep.
the exact area that I'm in. If it's decent, I'm chilling, man. I'll send you guys a couple of memes. I don't give a fuck.
I mean, seriously, yeah, like as long as
Okay.
the bathroom is up to a certain standard of clean, I'm okay with it. I'm not gonna let my shorts hit the ground because people can't
Yeah,
aim.
no.
Yeah. No.
But yeah,
Okay.
there's a certain point where you gotta go. But yeah, the phone comes out for sure.
All right.
And then even the times where I leave my phone somewhere and I'm just sitting there, I'm like, I remember this. This is like I feel like I'm back in 95 right now. Like I'm just sitting here. I'm just loving the moment right now, and I'm only in there for like half the time. Um, but we
I
kind of have this
noticed.
advantage where
I gotta do a side note. Don't you hate when you like go in your own house and you forget your phone, like in the mine's in the I have my bathroom and my room are the same. So I just go in there and I left it charging, and then I'm like, shit, like I'm just stuck here now. And it's only right there, but I'm not gonna get up. So I became back, and I went back to the 90s, and
Mhm.
it was quite pleasant actually. I was very in tune with myself. Go ahead, Mike. Sorry.
Yeah, you're like noticing details around your bathroom. You're like, oh wow, I never
Like,
noticed
wow,
that before.
How'd
I
that get
didn't,
there?
I need
Yeah,
to dust that real quick.
yeah. I'm missing grout right there. How'd they miss that? But we have an advantage because we kind of like already have that experience, and it's not something that's so like we can kind of stimulate ourselves like mentally. Um, And even to a certain degree, like I said, I tend to notice this a lot more with like older people where we used to get shit for always being on our phones. But then like if you look around, like a lot of older
Old
people are
people
like
on
on their
their shits
phones all
yes,
the fucking time. And
all the damn time.
I don't know what that is there. I'm not a behavioral psychologist or anything that's even close to being an expert on this, but there's definitely something going on there. But
You are a doctor though.
point being, so I am arriving at a point here. There is a matter of like purpose that goes into directed boredom, we'll call it. I'll call it directed boredom. I'm just making words up at this point. But like when I was studying for the NASM, was it exciting? No. Sometimes it was. There were some things. I'm a trainer and I'm learning about being a trainer. So it was stimulating to me, but there were parts where I'm like, this is pretty boring. But there was a purpose behind it. So I could kind of generate my own interest in it that way. And when you're scrolling or browsing or doing whatever, there's not much purpose there. Even if you're going so far as to look into like a hobby, if you're into woodworking and you're watching woodworking videos, there's still a level of not really that purposeful that's going on there. So, being bored is different than being bored and still working towards something. And I don't understand what's going on with humans because as far as I can think, I don't know of any other animals that really waste their time as except for maybe like a cat. But even then, like cats are conserving energy, right? Like do bears get bored? No, they're working on something, eating or hunting or doing whatever. But I don't know. I just think it's interesting because we're in a very unique position where we just like run out of things to do and then we get bored and then we scroll on our little supercomputer in our pocket. And I don't know, it's just kind of interesting.
It's something that they call. I think there's another book called Unplugging. I think there's another one that's out there. I can't remember the author, but
Unplugged.
Unplugged. A lot of this stuff has to do with just the fact that we are in a grid generation now that we've kind of been able to experience both sides, right? And I'll note, I mean, just a recent thing that I can think of that, I didn't even know I was doing it was when I was on a plane flying to New York. I had about 3 hours to kill almost. And in most cases, you can connect now your phone to Wi-Fi, but I didn't know how to properly set it up on the plane. Apparently, I have to like go somewhere else, but my friend showed
It's a
me that
pain in
later
the
on.
dude. That's a pain in the ass.
It's a pain in the ass.
What the fuck?
I know. I don't know
I
why
feel
they
like it
don't
worked
make
for me
it
once,
easier.
and then that's it.
I'll teach you off air what I did. I figured out it kind of became
Ah.
consistent. But anyways, it's a hit or miss, right? So this time I brought a book I've been reading, and it took me a little bit to get into the book at the first couple pages because I was just finishing watching a show or I was doing something on the phone. And to sit down and just read, it was hard. I could feel how challenging it was to get into what I was doing. I kept kind of checking my phone as a habit. I have that habit. And on the plane, I had a good amount of time to kill. And I knew that I was looking forward to having some quiet time just to read. And basically, I was able to knock out a decent chunk of pages and I built some momentum and I was getting really into it. So I know I was getting those dopamine hits, that a positive association with something that I liked. And it's allowed me to continuously to separate time. Every time that I have like downtime at the gym or something, I have the book with me and I'll continue to read in the break room. And it's easier to do it. I actually make it a point to go in a room quietly and just read. So it's all about creating the consistency, but also latching it on, allowing it to have a fighting chance to create a positive association mentally. So I think that's a very good point to make when it's anything you're doing. Even with like Gabe, that analogy with food was amazing because this could be simple as someone that's struggling to eat quote unquote clean food. How hard is it if you are, the majority of your diet is like ultra processed foods that all taste super amazing, and then you want to go back to eating some basic fruits and vegetables and some food that's not overly salted. It's hard at first for a lot of people. It's like, this is so bland, or drinking a very sugary coffee and going to black coffee. It's like, it's ridiculously challenging.
Or
But
water.
or just drinking water with no like sweeteners or any additives. or juices, you go straight to water. It is hard. And now I didn't think of the dopamine thing. I didn't think about that other part. I know about this. You get stimulated. I knew, but now it was like that's why I was an aha moment, because now I can make this connection to a client that's going through this. And anyone listening, pay attention to stuff that you find challenging to do, that you do enjoy, but it takes you a bit to get into it again. Almost like if you stop doing it for a while and then you go back to a diet, back to a workout routine, it's hard for you to kind of find that love for it maybe at first, until you start getting the rhythm going, and then you allow yourself enough to get positive reinforcement from it, where you get back on the wagon, if you will.
Real quick, I just remembered the point that I was going to be arriving at. This even happens with my own flesh and blood child, where if I'm sitting on my phone for a long time and I'm like doing whatever the fuck I'm doing, and like Oliver's just chilling there, like munching on whatever, he's chewing on a teething ring or whatever. And like, if I like put my phone down and am obligated to like entertain him because he's bored, it takes me a little bit. I'm like, this is kind of, it's kind of boring. I'm just kind of sitting here with a baby. He can't do anything. I'm just like shaking a rattle and he's just staring at it. And I'm like, this is fun. Believe me, I'm having fun. And then a couple minutes go by and then like, I realize like he's bored because I'm fucking bored because this is fucking boring. And then we come up with something that's more like elaborate. We'll fucking fly him around the room or like bounce him up and down. And then it actually like becomes fun for me. So it's kind of funny that it's like, what you're describing is happening literally with the child that I love more than anything. And I'm sitting here bored with him, and then we slowly like get on the same page and become entertained together, which is of course for him is productive because he needs to be stimulated and he's learning and all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of funny the way that it kind of works out, where you're saying you're bored with your child, but it sounds awful, but it's
no,
true.
no, it's not.
I mean,
No, it's not.
Yeah,
No, it's not. You know who say that it's awful? People who are not parents. That's who says that it's not, that it's awful. For those that are parents, it happens. Just
Yeah.
it's cool.
You know what
Hold on. The books that you were talking about, I just want to mention the books. So the one that you mentioned, Unplugged, that is a book by Dr. Andy Galpin. There's also another one, Irresistible, by Adam Alter. So that's another good one. It says the rise of addictive technology and the business of keeping us hooked. And then maybe a third by association would be iGen.
Okay.
That's another book. So go ahead.
Awesome. Perfect. I mean, Mike, if you, when you're doing the show notes, you can do the quick little notation of the on the description below. Shout out to them. Just so we're, giving them credit where credit's due. This is not our ideas. This is just stuff that's been taught to us that we find super helpful and applicable to just share with you guys in our personal experience. I was thinking also, just like one other thing that comes to mind, man, is like, do you think now the people, why it's so hard for someone, let's say, that lives in a city, super busy, always something going on, it's hard for them to go to a place that obviously doesn't have that many things, but you see other people that lived in those places and they love it. It's literally everything. They wouldn't trade it for the world. And eventually some of those people get adapted to the calmness because it's not go, 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 go all the time. Do you think that's just also a part that's the same thing to an extent, that people are like literally like, I love New York City, I love Miami, and it's like I hate Southwest Florida because it's so boring. It doesn't have like all these things going on 24/7. I don't know if that's like, I guess that can kind of be tied into there, maybe.
You talking about me?
Yeah, I was about to say, you're describing me right now. Yeah, because I've been places where it's like it is overstimulating. Going up to New Jersey, we're doing stuff all the time. You go up to New York City, it's cool, it's exciting, and like it's a vacation. You should never want to leave vacation, but eventually you get to the point where you're like, I'm ready to go the fuck home. Like this isn't really my scene for that long,
And then on that same point, the people who do live there, like when I was there, sure, there was a tons of things going on, but there's tons of things always going on. So it turns into, as opposed to a spectacle, it's like, oh, it's Tuesday. Look, hey, there's a naked cowboy playing the guitar in Times Square. Okay. Seen him there last week. He's cool. Keep on walking.
It's just like, it's crazy that we adapt to almost anything. And I think it's just becoming aware. Basically, when it comes to a mindset, to kind of tie this all together, to be more productive, if you someone that truly cares about getting something done and you just find yourself kind of like, you don't understand as to the why you may be hitting these blocks, or why it's so hard to just create this structure for yourself. You know what needs to be done. You've already done the hard stuff about carving time in your schedule. You've done time to prepare and take care of yourself with sleep and all that. But maybe you just don't enjoy, and you feel like, am I just losing the love for what I'm doing, or maybe this is not for me? Try this simple, not fully scientifically proven, but there,
No.
some anecdotal stuff here. Allow yourself to become bored and disconnect from like your phone and TV for a little bit before doing that particular task. Just a couple minutes. Give yourself 10 minutes of just quiet time, staring at the wall, as simple as that, and then start your task and see how you do, and see if you find still that attachment. I would even say this for people that struggle with cooking, getting, doing their laundry, cleaning, getting the stuff done that's even as literally as like common that everyone should be doing some type of it. Like I do, I make it fun and positive for me, because like there's nothing better when you get shit done. Let's say I'm like,
Yes.
I'm gonna go out into this Florida heat and I'm gonna go mow the lawn, not because I'm enjoying the process of getting everything out and getting into the hot sun, but once I'm going, and dude, afterwards it's like, yeah, I got a good sweat on, maybe a little
Got some sun.
tan,
There
got
you
some
go.
sun. Exactly. So it's like, it's creating these positive associations always to the things that you do, that that's important to you and that you want to get done, and become more and more successful over time, because you just love literally the process. So
But
that's my take.
I bet you oil up too, right? Before you go out there. I don't get to
Always,
get the
always, because I live on a street where a lot of cars are passing, so I get little beeps here and there.
What do you?
oil
What
up
do
to
I
you?
your
really, I really do, I'm not even lying. And I
I
think
bet.
it's someone that knows me, because I think it's the same car,
It's me.
Don't-
but
Do you
it's Mike.
do you guys have that where like somebody honks at you or says hi or whatever, and I'm like, who the hell is that? I don't know who the hell you are. As you're driving by, I can barely see through
Yeah, dude.
in the car.
There's been a couple of times where I got in like a message like, "Oh, I saw you cutting your grass," and I'm like,
I ain't see you.
And every time it beeps at
I
me, I feel like I'm like, what did I do wrong? Like, what's the problem? Like, you want
yeah.
to fight? Like, that's
No.
literally like, you want to go? But
One
no,
v one me
I'm
right now.
1v1 right now. Me
Yeah.
and you take the soccer ball out, starts juggling. It's about to go down.
I
That's how we used to handle things back in the day. I'm not gonna lie.
I live out in bumfuck Egypt in Cape Coral, so no, that never happens to me. But I have had people in my neighborhood that I've never spoken to or seen before, and I'll see them out in public, and they'll be like, "Oh, hi, how are you doing?" And I'm like, "Who the fuck are you?"
Hey,
We see you walking the
yeah.
You're
dog
from
and the
the you're from
baby.
the you're from the Next Level Show.
Yeah, oh yeah, of course. I wish, but
I love the podcast.
no, it's funny
That's
when that
the
happens,
clear
because it's
choice
like, how the fuck do you know who I am?
from the YouTube.
It's from the YouTubes. Yeah.
No, I know. Here, same thing. Like I live out in the woods, basically, where it feels like it. Yeah, and in my own community, when I'm walking around or whatever, and then I see people just either wave, give me a hand or whatever. I'm just like, okay, are you being friendly? Do you know me? I don't know. I
They're like,
literally have
"Oh,
no idea who the hell you are
Gabriel
as you're driving by.
Contreras, it's good to see you again." You're like,
Hey,
"What's up? What's up,
yeah,
dude?"
yeah. Hey, there you are.
Hello there.
Anyways,
Well, I mean, boys, wrap us up. Unless we have any closing thoughts on this, but yeah, no, I think that this is a good. I'm gonna start applying some of this stuff more consciously. That's stuff that I do almost
and
by.
what's cool about that is that if you do apply this, you'll notice that most people have the same exact issue. You're not alone, right? It's the majority of us have this. So if we were to somehow get like even 5%, 10% better, then we would have a leg up on a good portion of the people competition around us. It's always a competition, right? It's always a 1v1.
That's what
Or
he
is it
said
more
in
of a
the
battle royale?
It's Battle Royale.
That's what he
Battle
said
royale.
in the video, basically, that like if you can master this or become super hyper aware, you literally are on top of that. You have a
90%.
complete 90% advantage over everyone in that space, and that's powerful in whatever you're trying to accomplish. It's not a competition. Life's always a competition.
It always is.
Yeah.
It always
But
is.
no, there was something else that I had for you guys, but kind of lost it. But not that important, most likely. It never is. But anywho,
Well,
close us
I
out.
was gonna say just directly, just real quick. I'm in this situation right now where I'm studying and learning, and there is a little bit of a competition with the other trainers, even though I'm gonna win.
Better. Yeah.
But It is
Absolutely.
true. And I mean, I kind of think of it like, could I sit here and just watch Lego Masters or something? And yeah, I could, but that wouldn't get me any closer to my goal. There's time later for me to slack off. And I've had plenty of time behind me where I'm slacking off and not doing shit or just wasting my fucking time. I enjoyed wasting that time, but still, I need to be productive now because I'm working towards something. So, like, looking at it that way, even if I am bored, I'm working towards something. So it becomes a lot easier to kind of set aside the boredom and really focus. And then yeah, after a couple of minutes, you start getting into it. And I mean, this is adding up to something. So yeah, just final thoughts, I guess.
Definitely.
Speaking of watching a show, I finally finished Castlevania, all 4 seasons. That was pretty
the
good.
last season was so good.
I know. It's still my favorite is the ending of 2 when the Bloody Tear song comes on and they start fighting everyone right before Alucard fights Dracula. That's probably my favorite part.
The last season just had so many like good fights and good scenes and good like.
And it's gonna come back.
Yeah. Oh man, so good.
Took me forever.
It took me forever. I literally stopped on episode 2, I think.
It gets way better. The first season is like it's a little slow.
Yeah.
It picks up from season 2.
I'm on the last season, but I just haven't finished the last season.
I see.
I'm on episode 2 of the last season.
There's a lot of talking. Like I said, it picks up pretty quickly, and then after that's
so
business picks up.
I'm about to go rewatch it. Oh man,
I want to start watching that one, the He-Man show, the series, part 1.
Yes. So, boys, wrap us up with your dad jokes. We can get the ball rolling for the people this week so they can go and kick ass and win. Be productive. And if you guys found this information informative, obviously shoot us a message what you guys think if you guys apply this type of stuff. I'm definitely, like I said, I'm going to be more conscious of it. Make sure that I start doing this before I start doing tasks, like let's say as simple as editing for the podcast, creating content, or things that I know that I enjoy. I do. If I didn't, I wouldn't do it, period. I'm just that person. But you lose kind of that spark, you lose that that feeling of like, fuck yeah, I love this stuff. And you need to like get back to it. So that's something I'm going to be applying for me. Hope you guys will as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna try that. And also even more so at the times where I am quote unquote bored, like at a line at the at the supermarket or Target or whatever, Publix, or if I'm at a red light, I want to instinctively try to think like, okay, let me pull up my phone. I ain't gonna miss anything. What I missed in the last 5 minutes? Absolutely nothing. So I'll be totally fine.
It'll still be there when you get back.
Exactly. But you know what? Some question that I'm gonna give you guys an answer to. Do you guys know why cows are good at stealth?
Ooh.
They are literally made out of hide.
Okay. I like it.
Where's your riddle?
I actually have 2. I have some word riddles for you. One of them is easy, and maybe neither of them
allegedly
are easy, but okay. So again, clue is words. Forwards, I am heavy. Backwards, I am not. What am I? Forwards, I am heavy. Backwards, I am not. What am I?
Not. And ton.
There you go. It's ton. You're ton because you're heavy. Backwards, you're not. Yep. Okay. What 5-letter word becomes shorter when you add 2 letters to it?
Short.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll give you guys a random fact to close up. This is something I didn't know. It's just for my ladies that are afraid of them, are grossed out by them. Possums are not rats. They're marsupials. Boom. There you go.
And they eat ticks.
They do. So we need them.
Yeah, we do need them. Ticks are awful, and possums kill them. So good.
And I'll feel bad next time I run one over. That's what I thought about. I'm like, I didn't know that. They're not rodents. They're marsupials. So basically like koalas.
So don't run over a koala.
Basically, yeah. So I mean, if you run over a possum,
you're essentially killing a koala.
Chance that there's a tiny little baby hiding in that pouch too, or on its back, because they carry them like that, like little possum backpacks.
Well, not only that, dude, I just knew that they don't actually they don't play dead. They just have like severe anxiety, so they just pass out, and they also release an odor. Just so you guys know, that's why they smell like a corpse when they're passed out. Okay, they need some CBD basically. They need to smoke.
So they're just like us, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I just found out I have something in common with possums.
There you go.
You smell like a corpse when you pass out.
And suffer from high anxiety.
Yeah, I just have bad anxiety, and then I stink when I suffer from bad anxiety. Yeah, that's me. You just
That's
summed me up.
hilarious.
Don't run over
Perfect.
Mike.
No, no,
Please
no,
don't.
Mike. Yeah,
I've
basically.
already done that. I don't want to do that again.
With that being said, listeners, if you guys like this information, go ahead and share with someone. Like the video, go ahead and give us a 5-star rating on the podcast platform. We appreciate it always. And if you want to go ahead and check us out on social media and Instagram at The Next Level Show, like I said, my personal account is at John Alva Fitness. Gabe is at Prime and Glory, and Mike, he's at Mike Nillis PT. Until the next one.